Welcome to the Loud Quiet. Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. What are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. I don't know if I'm recording. Yeah, I am. Okay.
Great. Sans children. Just us. We need a tissue box up here. Follow along on our journey and maybe, we can learn from others.
Yeah. I don't have a clue how to be empty nester.
This is the Loud Quiet Living the Empty Nest. Hey guys, welcome back to the Loud Quiet, episode 27. We're so glad that y'all are continuing to listen. We had a little bit of a bump last week. I think people were probably interested in the title of Valentine's, Take It or Leave It.
It was interesting to see that there were certainly more folks listening.
Yeah, and our thoughts on the holiday. So we thought we'd do a little recap as to what our Valentine's Day
We can answer the question. Do empty nesters actually do Valentine's Day?
So I woke up that morning. You obviously leave well before I even get up. But I went into the kitchen and there was a nice box of chocolates and saw this lovely card on top of the box of chocolates. This was pulled from our...
It was pulled from the last episode. Yes. And as I was editing the episode, this is, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say one frame, not even 1 second, but one frame before we start talking. And the look on your face just cracked me up when I saw this.
Yeah, and if you're not watching and you're listening, it says, Happy Valentine's Day to the one who tolerates me with a loving, laughing smile. So I have a little sarcastic grin on my face. So
it was the thumbnail for the episode last week. So folks have seen, just not with the whole Valentine's Day. Yeah, we were cracking up right before this. And so as we were hit play.
Which I think is a testament to our marriage. We do like to laugh with each other and at each other.
And it goes both ways, and we love it.
So then we just went about our day, and I then got you your gift of chips and queso.
I just talked over you. I'm sorry, but somebody knows my love language, because I come home and it is chips and queso. Yes. And that's what our Valentine's dinner was.
That's really what we ended up.
Not exaggerating.
I know.
Chips and queso.
And I was like, I have other stuff I can fix. And we were like, And I will say, it was kind of role reversal that day, because you had your gents place appointment where you get your hair done and had your beverages. You went and had a drink at another place before that.
My appointment wasn't ready, which was actually kind of funny too. We can talk about that a little bit. That I went to what is a nice Italian restaurant, because it's right there next to the haircut place. And I wanted a Negroni. You suggested that would be a good place to go. We'll go in there. Here's the single lonely guy at the romantic Italian restaurant up at the bar. I'm sure there were a lot of eyes like, oh, that poor guy.
Yeah. I said, it looks like you're, waiting for your mistress to have a drink before you go home to your wife. So
I really don't think anybody looked at me and was like, yeah, that guy's got a mistress.
But no, you had your day of pampering. So that was our Valentine's Day. And then we're throwing the quote in here because it goes along with the theme. And, Teagan, oh my gosh, this child is she's my child, and I just love her to death. And so she texted and said, as a single person, my favorite day is February 15th because I just got 50% off chocolates. So she and her friend Alex went over to CVS, and she was like, do you want some chocolates? Because they can use their cat cash there, and she has ample she's trying to go through. And he was like, yeah, I do. And so they stocked up on their chocolates, and then I think they went and watched a movie or something. But so that was fun. That's our little Valentine's Day recap for all of y'all.
Empty nesters do celebrate Valentine's Day, just uniquely. Yeah. Well, it does.
Well, we did it uniquely. I don't know. A lot of people still
absolutely. Your parents have a beautiful shot from going to Bob's,
and I posted that under our. So there are people that still they like to go out and celebrate that day. And
I think what it comes down to is knowing your spouse, knowing each other, and knowing what you enjoy. And I enjoyed tortilla or chips and queso, right? Yes. You enjoyed us not snarky, but just a smirky little photo and a box of chocolates. It was fun. We just spent the evening together.
It was good. So
what happened after Valentine's Day, though? So actually, Clancy and I had said to ourselves, we really don't know what we're doing for the episode this week, which you've heard us say a couple times, actually, because this is living the empty nest. Sometimes it's not planned. Well, we had a day trip to Austin planned, and that's my monthly trip. We've talked about it. My mom is in memory care there in the deep stages of Alzheimer's. So once a month, I or we go and visit her. And this became one of the more entertaining days I think we've ever had. Not just visiting her, but certainly a good portion of visiting her. We learned something about my grandmother. We learned something about ourselves. Fun day. Wanted to share those stories with y'all.
Well, yeah. And I do. I like what, on the plane yesterday morning, we were saying, I said, I don't really know what we're going to talk about this weekend. Last night, as we were coming back on the plane, you go, oh, well, the memory care place said, hold my beer.
That's right.
we got lots of stories.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, my gosh.
So I mean, the day started off, God bless Southwest, because we can get down there quickly. And
there being Austin, I guess, did we say that?
Oh, yeah, in Austin, yeah.
And it's a super short flight.
30-minute flight.
Some might argue drive it. No, if you've done I-35 and you have the opportunity to fly, you would choose to fly. It's great.
Yeah, we just choose to do it that way. And empty flight. It was so nice. Left a few minutes early, got there early. So
even earlier than we could visit my mom, right? Because sometimes we land and we go straight there. Well, it was way too early to do that.
I will say the one thing that was not good yesterday, it was freaking cold and windy. I mean, it was
Yay,
cold.
February in Texas.
It was cold.
When you're cold, what do you want? You want a good, cozy, warm feeling. So we went to a place that's been in Austin forever, Kirby Lane Cafe, and we went to the original one, which is, a shocker of all shockers, on Kirby Lane. Mm-hmm. And we got seated there. And I know we had been there before. I haven't been there in a long time. No. And you looked at me and said something kind of funny.
Yeah. No, the last time we were there, which would have been 27 years ago, probably. We were dating and we weren't even married yet. And I said, oh, the last time we were there, we sat at that table over there and we were hungover. And you go, I don't remember that. I was like, exactly. So, I think it must have been, we tried to figure out, I think it was probably, when we'd been out at Iron Cactus, which I don't even know if that's there anymore.
I don't know, but that was New Year's. Street, and so we might have been younger and consuming more than we normally do.
Yeah.
And so I remember being there, but not necessarily. Yeah. And no, let's make sure we're not hearing that. It wasn't like we were still liquored up. It's just the fuzziness of the hangover, probably.
Yes, that was a long time ago. Yes, I mean.
So compare that to this time around. We're there at probably 8 o'clock before the crowds even arrive. We've already been up since 4:40 on a plane, and so it was a little different experience. But enjoyed that place. There's some other breakfast places I'd recommend, but it's great to have that Austin tradition. Bip down to Anderson's Coffee, got some coffee to take home, beans, grounds, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Well, then it was time to go visit my mom.
And like I said, this was not like our first time there. We've been there multiple times. You never know what you're going to get. Usually it's just, and it's nice to go with someone because your mom pretty much slept through our entire visit.
You never know. Usually the mornings are like that if you do the morning visit. And it's the back half where she starts to get more alert. And there's something that got her pretty alert this time around. But when you're there, just to describe it a little bit, it's like almost like a small house. And you've got this sort of middle section, and then there's hallways.
Yeah, it's like any kind of nursing home.
But we're in that center core, and there's little seating areas that you can sit in. And so that's what we do. We sit there, and we talk. We talk to my mom. We talk to each other. We just have a conversation. And then we really just observe the scene that happens around us.
And I don't know what was going on yesterday, but this one
kicked it up a notch.
It was. We have lots of fodder for the podcast.
And I think it's important to say before we get into this that to some ears this may sound like we're making fun of. And I want to make sure everybody understands that's not the spirit that this is. There is nothing funny about Alzheimer's. There's nothing funny about watching your loved ones go through this. And that's why all you can do is find the smiles in it, find the humor in it.
Yes.
So of these stories that we're telling, these are ones that are warming our hearts, not that we're mocking the people. It gives you some insight into who they were before as well.
Well, and the place that your mom is at is amazing.
Yeah.
The level of care is amazing. Her private nurses are amazing. So yes, if anyone in the Austin area is going through something, we would highly recommend. We don't want to say the name of it, but just to protect privacy. But it is an amazing place. So
We feel, and I think we've talked about it, just it's close to our house. The care there is fantastic. So all of that's great. Now, there's a lot that's entertaining there. And some of the things we're talking about didn't necessarily happen this time, but this time around, there was one of the women came around, and it's, you can kind of do a lap there, and that's what you see. People will do laps.
the people that are still able to be mobile
Right,
and stuff,
right.
like to walk. And yesterday they couldn't go outside, so everyone was inside. But they do have a really nice outside area too.
And this sweet woman came up to us, and we're sitting there with my mom. She goes, "How are y'all doing?" "Oh, well, we're doing just fine. Thanks for. Can I get y'all anything? Is everything going all right?" Well, why? No, I don't think we need anything right now. All right, just want to make sure everything's good for you. She leaves, and we continue our conversation. And then she comes back a little later. "Hey, just want to check in with y'all to see how things are going. Can I get you anything?"
And I hadn't seen her before.
She's new to me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, Rick and I were both like, she must have been in
Some
the
kind of
service
serving, like-
industry, something, because they recall things from their past. And so the way that she delivered those lines, she had to have been in some sort of service capacity at something. So.
And I remember when I was first going there, because we're approaching 2 years now, I had some discomfort with that. Where there was one woman who made me incredibly uncomfortable, which is part of the frat house element, that this place actually is kind of frat housey. Coming now to realize, just enjoy the moment with the person. No, we're good. Thanks. Maybe come bring me some waters next time. Yeah. And then I think she left. We're like, well, actually, you got a martini hidden back there, but we did not actually ask that of her.
No, she was very sweet. And then we had another interaction with her. Like she was very sweet. So
it is. That's the sweet stuff. And there are plenty of friendly people and that kind of stuff. But I mentioned the frat house, and yesterday and some other times, it really gets kind of just stunningly fun in there.
I even compared it to, it's all, First we started off with, it's like living in a dorm. Then,
which my mom actually was at the
telling
very
Teagan,
beginning when she was still communicating, said, "I really think Teagan needs to attend this school." So it really is very dorm-esque.
But yes, yesterday I actually said, "Oh, it's more like a frat house, except they're not drunk on liquor. They're just
there's some
it's
giggly.
just things
well,
that
here, we'll tell
they
one
don't
of
know
them.
happen."
One of them, someone came it was the last time I was there, and she walked up and just dropped her pants.
Yeah, we've seen people with one shoe. I mean, it's like watching. It's like Barstool on. If anyone knows what Barstool is, I follow for both of my kids' schools. Tanner's actually made an appearance on
Side story. Side story.
But
non-disclosure.
He wasn't doing anything stupid. But it's like Barstool at the memory care facility. Right. And again, we're not making fun of. It's just how Rick and I are very humor based. It's just how we deal with. You just have to look
process the intensity of it.
Yeah, you just have to look at the good side of what you can pull out of it being good.
There was so kind of keeping with the unexpected elements of, I mentioned there was something that woke my mom up. Well, all of a sudden we're sitting there and it's pretty quiet in there usually, unless somebody happens to be talking or walking by. And this dog just starts popping off, and then dogs are barking. There's people wandering around. There's people offering us drinks.
And people bring their dogs. But these two dogs that came yesterday were big.
They actually said how big they were.
Yeah.
Oh, in a few weeks, they'll be 100 pounds.
Yeah. They were big dogs. And yeah, the one that barked, we were all like, oh, I mean, we all.
My mom's eyes popped up.
Oh my gosh, please don't let that dog
No kidding.
And they were with their family members,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was a new. I've seen the little dogs, but I haven't seen two big ones like that. So,
Yeah.
and it makes, everyone knows how pets can affect, family and
As long as they're not
people
popping up
and
barking at each
yeah,
other,
well,
that part was a little, but yes. It is a place that is full of entertainment. And eventually our time there did come to an end, right? So we knew that we were going back for my mom's birthday party. So there's a little other element. We will be back to my mom's birthday party, but I like to, and we like to, go see my 99-year-old grandmother usually at lunch. Bring her lunch, usually some soup that she raves about. So, and this time got a new one. She raved about that one. She's a fantastic woman and we may have talked about it. She just always has these great stories. She only recently has come to the point that, the keys had to be taken away from her. She was still driving and successfully living her life incredibly independently until just recently. However, she is still full of stories, full of surprises. And if you get her talking, things will come up that you have never heard before. I am approaching 51 years old. And she told us something yesterday that kind of blew both of our minds that I'm going, I'm 51 almost, and I haven't heard this story before. And you heard it from the beginning. I had walked in on the middle of it.
Yeah, so she was talking about when she was in high school. So, that would have been probably in the 40s?
Well, it's probably something like that. If she's
I'm
about to be,
I'm trying to do math here, so
if she's
I'm
going to
not
be
good at that.
124, yeah.
Okay.
Well, then
Can you
she
still
was
do
0 and 24, so she'd be 18 and 18 plus. Okay, square the third, the calculus
Anyways,
ratio of the square root of
It was a long
pi.
time ago, so she was talking, she grew up in Quitman, which is a tiny little town
In East Texas,
yes,
Quitman,
outside.
Texas.
And she said really, the only place I'd been was Tyler.
Tyler was the big, amazing, full-throttled town.
Yeah. So she was talking about the fair that they used to have, the old settlers fair, and it was just a big carnival kind of scene for their
Imagine what
town.
you're thinking about. Small town fair. It's everything you think. That's what it was.
Yeah, and so she starts telling me that, there was a fortune teller there, and so they said, okay, let's get our fortune read. Again, remember, this is someone who's about to be 100, years ago. We look at the fortune tellers. Okay, yeah, they tell you, ooh, you're going to find love. Ooh, you're going to
do something meaningful in your life.
Well, this lady told her that she was going to cross the ocean many times with her children. And I said, okay, wait, stop. And Rick and I both looked at her. We were like, okay, first of all, that's very specific. And at that time, no one was crossing the ocean unless you were in the military.
And you certainly weren't doing it from Quitman, Texas.
No.
Crossing the ocean was, okay, well, I'll go across Lake Fork, which wasn't even invented then.
Yeah, and so we both were, and she said, I know, and she did. I mean, with her military husband, they
lived in France.
Yeah.
They went, and yes, had their kids across there, back and forth across the pond multiple times. Her son, my dad, and my mom were in Germany in the military.
Yeah.
I was born there, so she flies across the ocean multiple times.
And even later in life, she traveled with your parents
across the ocean.
I mean, we were just blown away by. It just struck us like, oh my gosh, that one is really. It really came true, and not that we're putting any stock in fortune tellers, but it was just so unique, and that we had never heard that story before.
It would be the equivalent. Well, it's not even really the equivalent, but it would almost be like there's even gender elements in play there. You wouldn't tell a 16, 17, 18-year-old young or a girl, young woman, that she was doing that in that era because, my gosh, no, that's only the men that would do those sorts of things. So you even had the gender thing in play there. It would be almost the equivalent of someone sitting down with us and looking at us and going, you are going to go back and forth to Jupiter and you are going to have your kids on Jupiter and you're going to travel multiple times. It's that kind of incredible story, and then for it to come true.
It was really, it was so interesting, and it just took us both. It just, yeah, it was.
It is another reminder of why you do need to stop down and spend time. Because full transparency here, until my mom until she was diagnosed with her disease and we saw what was happening, I was not making a disciplined effort to go to Austin. Yes, we had kids, we were busy, we had scheduled, there were things. However, you can always choose things, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Now I do once a month, and it's this story is a reminder, and maybe just kind of a PSA for everyone out there. If you've got elders, well, make sure you're spending time with them, because those stories will evaporate. That's not a story anywhere recorded. It's not written down anywhere. It's just a story that now we have and can share with others, and it's just a part of what we get to think of and celebrate about my Nana.
Yeah. So yeah, that was good and fun, and
we don't normally we leave, right? Yeah, but this time she wanted to come with us to my mom's birthday party. Mom turned 78. Well, today is the day we're recording, but it was the day after we were there in Austin. And we expected to go have a birthday party with her, similar to the birthday party that we had last year. And the one that we had last year, we all gathered in a little, social room there, had a cake, had
just
some
family.
pictures
It was
with
just
the
family
family
last year.
and got some fun pictures. And family in this case includes my sister, her husband, her daughters, Jerry, his son Mark, and Nana, all gathering there along with Clancy and me. That's what we expected when we walked in.
It was a little different this year. So apparently we were their snack time on Saturday is in the afternoon. And maybe it was because it was a Saturday this year. I bet last year it was probably y'all did it on a weekday, maybe. Yeah. But yes, so we were the entertainment for them this time.
We weren't the entertained. We were the entertainment.
Yeah. So
imagine rows of people in chairs.
And, well, there's the cake. Yeah, then the cake was beautiful. This is another thing that I love about this place is that they are so good about still, they know these people. Some of them don't know what's going on. They don't know, but they still treat them like they are fully capacitated.
Absolutely.
I mean, and they don't treat them like people with Alzheimer's. I mean, there are times that, yes, they have to say certain things, but they had a huge Valentine's Day celebration. They brought in a singer. They transformed the room. They had the 2 tables set up, chairs for the family to sit behind. I mean, yes, it was, on display.
And so for those just listening, the picture of cake and now picture of the family grouping there for my mom and the birthday celebration. I mean, they went all out for this.
Yes, they sing.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. When I say the they too, I need to call out Yvette and the caregivers that we have also brought in to support my mom here. The woman Yvette that I'm mentioning is almost like family at this point in the way that she loves for and cares for my mom here. The cake and the flowers were brought in by her.
And the lady, I don't know her name, but who does their runs all their programs, she is amazing too. Yeah. She's the one who really took the lead and
Absolutely.
did, so it was just
no.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm just replaying in my head. First of all, like I said yesterday, I think I could have. I got a job there yesterday.
Yes,
because
after the cutting cake.
Yes.
What did you get dedicated to?
There were a lot. I mean, there were probably 20 residents in there.
And I started to mention they were lined up in chairs facing us
because they had had their.
There was an
program.
Yes,
there was someone playing the piano, and so then it just shifted into the birthday party, and so I was just trying to help pass out cake because there was only really 2 people doing that part, and one was cutting, so I was helping pass out, and of course I had to ask, okay, can everyone have it? And there are a few that need help eating. So after cake was passed, then I went and helped one eat. And while I was helping her, you walked up behind me and put your hand on me to say something. And she goes, "Do you know that man?" I was like, "Well, thanks for watching out for me." But yes, I said, "Oh, yes, that's my husband." And she was like, "Okay."
So either she was trying to protect you or wondering, oh,
Is he available?
Is he available? Yeah, because we didn't know about the lady that tried to kiss me before.
Oh my gosh. I mean, again, it's just.
And this got back to the frat house mode, right? So there was a guy, and I'm going to end it by saying everybody's okay.
Yeah.
But I think it was while you were feeding this person.
I didn't even know it had
I didn't
happened.
see. All of a sudden, I just hear, and
Yeah.
you turn around, and there's a dude that has fallen on the floor because if it were a party, he'd, well, maybe had a little too much. He just sat on his walker, and it was the wrong way for him to sit on there.
And one guy actually yelled out, "He's had too much, cut him off." I was like, oh. And this guy,
Yeah.
I will say, he looks like he could have been one of Tanner's fraternity brothers back in the day. So, yeah. And again, like you said, he was fine. We called a nurse to come and help get him up because
Yeah,
they
and they
don't
just
want-
like,
and
hey,
they
remember, you're not
evaluated
supposed
it.
to sit in your walker, it falls,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But it did have that vibe of, the dude who'd had too much at the party.
I mean,
Well, there's all sorts of other elements. They were serving drinks,
oh yes,
water, and punch. And as she was passing out the drinks, then she had to do something else. I can't remember what it
Well,
was.
yeah. I mean, that's the other thing is that, you have 20 people that are trying to vie for your attention, and there's one person, and we were all helping pass out things, and yeah, so she had to stop and assist someone else. That same man just yelled out, "Can you keep going with the drinks?" I mean, it's just.
Hey, keep the drinks going, lady.
I mean,
It was like a raucous bar.
yes. So,
So it was fun. It was delightful. I will say, and I've said this before, that I have no idea how much my mom is aware of these sorts of things. Either she was reflexively reacting to the energy and the stimuli that were in the room, or something was poking through. I think Nana has a particular effect on my mom. Her alertness was more than we've seen in a long time. And this shows you what Alzheimer's does to you when this is the bar that I'm describing. She said 3 audible words that were logical answers to questions she was asked.
Yeah.
I came up and said, "Man, you're having one heck of a party here, aren't you, Mom?" "Yeah." And I just flinched. Whether it's reflex or not, it just shows that there was something, and why a place like this, and why having family surrounding her. I don't know what she knows, but I know that in that moment, whether at her animal level or her human level, she knew what was going on and enjoyed it.
well, and you have to think in this picture, Nana is the one she's known the longest. I mean, she and
Oh, yeah.
Nana have
Yeah.
had a relationship
Since my
since
dad was
your
dating
dad,
her, right?
and they were so close.
Yeah.
Not only in proximity to each other, but their relationship. Your dad was the oldest, so your mom and Nana have known each other for a long time. So yes, I do think that there was some connection there, and you could feel it from Nana's side too.
Oh, yeah.
So that was just really nice. And yes, she held Nana's hand the entire time we were there. So it
And
was
my mom's
just,
got a pretty solid grip,
yeah,
too,
she
so you gotta
does.
watch
I know
out if
her
she holds
strength is still
issue there.
her strength is still there for sure. So yeah, so that was just, it was a nice.
For a weekend that was a day trip, we had no idea what we were going to get. And for an episode that we weren't entirely sure what our content was going to be, well, here it is.
And we know, I know a couple of people who do listen who also have loved ones that are in memory care, and you're just seeing more and more memory care places open up because people are living longer. This is affecting more people. They still can't figure out why. And so again, it just gives us a smile, and it's the way that you can just come to terms with your mom is not the same that she was, but let's just be in the moment that we're in with her and find the sun and rainbows in
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah. Because we looked at pictures that were a year ago to the day, and just the physical difference.
Oh, yeah.
So different. And I remember thinking at that time, oh my gosh, look at the ones the year before. And so that speed, the path that this evil disease has, it's nice to be able to have moments like this where you can enjoy your way through it. I'm not sure if that's the right phrase, but just, like you said, find the rainbow.
Yeah. And again, if anyone is, headed down this path or in this path, we'd love to talk. If you're just starting out, it's hard to deal with. And, we've been in it now for 4 years ago around this time that she got diagnosed officially. So,
there's so much that we had to learn, and thank God for Jerry and
Yeah.
his almost professor-esque capacity to seek and absorb knowledge. So yes, for those that are out there, there's things that we know that we didn't know before, and we're happy to share. And if there's others that want to tell their story about being an empty nester, caring for somebody, we'd love to have those stories told on the Loud Quiet as well.
yeah. So thanks for
We'll see what the next day
listening to
trip's
our-
like. I don't think it'll be like that. I think it's just a solo one. For me,
Oh,
I
and
would say.
again, thank you, Southwest Airlines, getting us back. Our flight was delayed, but man, they made up some time on the way back. Again, nice empty
Love having
flight,
a Dallas crew when they're going back to their home base.
Yeah, and the Austin airport is always a nice one to at least be in.
Yeah.
So, and we had a great burger before we left. So we had some good.
That was a good burger.
Good.
Yeah.
Yesterday was all good. It was a good trip. So.
Yeah, it was nice to sleep in today. And
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And record another one. Always enjoy doing this with you, kiddo. It's fun to share a little pod moment with you, having a good time with us on another episode of The Loud Quiet, Living the Empty Nest.